I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. The show goes on. This is my home.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Say hello to my little friend. It's a man, baby.
Fuck you, retard!
Oh, behave. Yeah. Why so serious?
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
I am Iron Man.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Bears message boards, and there was some post in some fan site about Bears are going to trade for Melvin Gordon, the running back of San Diego. And I'm like, that is the most retarded thing I've ever fucking heard. It has nothing to do with the fucking running back. The line is shit. Doesn't matter who the fuck. And I said, you know what? Phillip Rivers' contract is up next year. I wouldn't mind fucking trying that. I'm like, and they go, and they're like, I get laughed at. He's never led anyone anywhere. And I'm like, so by that, you only want Eli Manning then, because he's won 2 Super Bowls. So, unless you've won a Super Bowl, you don't want the guy? Like, fucking retarded. I go, okay then, don't trade for Mahomes either, because he's no good. He's never won a Super Bowl. I'm like, fuck. I go, the team he's always on is a walking wounded fucking team. And he's fucking fantastic, Rivers. I take Rivers in a fucking second. I go, over the fucking garbage I fucking dealt with? You kidding me? Yeah, he'd rather have Mitch than Rivers. Okay. Go fuck yourself.
These are the arguments you're having online.
This is the arguments I have.
I'd
rather have Mitch than fucking Phillip Rivers. Fuck.
I'm arguing with like transgenders and environmentalists. Have you seen the thing in have you seen the thing in England where we're pulling the they're called extinction something they're called.
Oh no, I haven't.
Wait, let me Google it, and then we'll just go straight in.
Straight away.
Extinction Rebellion, they're called.
What the hell would that even mean?
So they're protesting the environmental damage that we're doing, and they tried to to lead protests in London and all that. So they tried to
people that don't believe they're like that we're fucking ruining the environment. It's those people that don't believe in global warming and shit.
Right. So they weren't really getting much attention for it, so they decided to sort of disrupt the London Underground and stand on top of the trains and lead their protests over there. God. So the people going to work, which is like people that need business people also on those commutes, just pull them off the trains by their legs, like they climbed off the top. They put and then everybody, and then you see these people in suits just kicking the shit out of them.
Oh, that's great.
It was great. That's been the response to like all the videos.
What do they think they're accomplishing? What are they trying to accomplish for everyone to go, okay, you're right?
I think they're trying to become.
I
think they're trying to become extinct early.
They're going to. Fucking businessmen.
Oh, you got to see these fucking losers as well. Like they're like singing these songs. They're in the streets. They're like doing these like fucking dances and all this fucking horrific shit.
It's almost like there's the Bernie rally in New York.
Well, these are the kind of guys that like are offended by it. These are the kind of people that are offended by every single thing. Do you know? Have you heard the story about? So I sent this to Nick yesterday. By the way, guys, this is the Man Show. Like we're just gonna roll with it. Like
there you go.
I pressed record a few minutes ago.
Good.
I'll tell you guys why we're doing it like this and why this show's late, etc. There is an interesting story behind it, but I think we deserve credit for just doing a show all together. To be honest, so it's not like people's lives are hinging on our NFL picks right now. So
forgive me as I walk down the street with motorcycles and cars going past, but we're fitting the show in for you people.
Yeah, because we know you need to lose money on the NFL again this week.
Speaking of, did you see what happened during the Oklahoma game this morning?
I saw something about this cart falling over, right?
I videoed it. I turned on the TV as it happened. I'll send it to you. You score a touchdown, usually like they'll run a horse on the field for something, or, the Buffalo runs on the field at Colorado, stupid shit. So little Oklahoma wins something, and a cart with, like a covered wagon comes out with 2 horses carrying it, and something, and people sit in the seats in the front, and it turned, and people kind of hold the horses and run a little bit with them. It turned a corner so fast, the entire fucking cart flips, and they go flying out of it. The girl goes flying, and the cart falls off the fucking wheels, and they're like chasing the horses down. Oh, it was wild.
So, do you have Chick-fil-A in San Jose yet?
Oh yeah, Chick-fil-A's down the block actually.
Chick-fil-A's. I always get Chick-fil-A in New York. Chick-fil-A's first UK location will close after pressure from LGBTQ. What the fuck is the Q?
God.
What's rights group? What's the Q
I think
now?
that's questioning. You know what's funny is on my show, on Lingus Mafia, we had a whole show, and one of the shows is titled like all those letters, but we have 50 more letters involved in it because we added to it. We added 50 more things that could have been onto there. There was one, I think one of the letters was P for priest. There's all kind of stuff. So we got quite a list. But yeah, the Q, I believe, is questioning. That's been added to it. They're questioning their sexuality. They don't even know what's going on. They just have a question.
Yeah, they should just go jump off a building. The Atlanta-based company has faced criticism and boycotts for its past donations to anti-LGBTQ groups and CEO Dan Cathy's public comments opposing gay marriage. In April, the company lost out on 2 potential lucrative airport contracts in the US after local politicians raised concerns over the company's anti-LGBTQ history. I support Chick-fil-A like more than I've ever done before. I think I'm gonna go out of my way to get
the main problem I have, the main problem with Chick-fil-A is that they're too obviously with the religion and stuff, but the problem is that they're closed on Sundays because of religion. And it's like, open the fucking thing on Sunday. We're hungry. They're missing out on a major. That's so stupid.
That's a stupid move because I would think that Saturday and Sunday is the time when most people want that shit anyway.
Oh yeah, that's like, especially sports-wise. I'm gonna go get some Chick-fil-A, sit down, watch a game. Nope, they're closed. And Popeyes was getting in fights with them about them selling the sandwiches and stuff like that. And they're like, I guess Chick-fil-A had on their sign, "Hey Popeyes, stay in your lane," because now they're doing sandwiches. And they wrote back on theirs, "Hey Chick-fil-A, people like to eat on Sundays too."
So there's like a sort of an argument over who's permitted to do sandwiches.
No, it's more Chick-fil-A is known, and they've always been doing their sandwich, and Popeyes never did. Popeyes always did like KFC buckets and strips maybe, and now they're like, "Hey, let's put this on a fucking bun," which is pretty much it. It's a fucking fillet on a bun. It's a chicken stick on a bun.
Right.
And the world fucking melted over it. And everybody, they've run out. They ran out where it was so bad that because they keep running out of buns. So it was so bad, people started bringing their own buns to give them, to make a sandwich for them.
Yeah, I didn't. What, you're talking about Popeye or Chick-fil-A now?
That's Popeyes, because they've never done it before.
I have
huge.
had chicken burgers in Popeyes for years, so I didn't understand when you were telling me about that. I was like, I've always been able to get a burger in Popeyes, at least since 2017. So,
I mean, maybe it's the hot one. I don't know. I don't know what the big deal, but I never even tried. I said, you know what? I might give it a shot after it calms down. And what I wanted to do on my show was have 3 different chicken sandwiches that I didn't know and do taste test. But I need someone to bring it to me. I can't get it myself, you know? I'm going to have your girlfriend unwrap these things and put them in front of me.
They are good. There is good chicken in the US. It is slightly different. I mean, now I can easily order a KFC. I can even get it delivered from Deliveroo, which is a company that deliver it. But it's not quite the same, but it's good enough. Like for now, like seeing as we're talking about it, and I'm kind of getting a taste for it now. So it kind of makes
Do you
me.
think it's better in Kentucky? Like, do you think KFC is actually better in Kentucky?
I wouldn't think there's any reason for that. Why do you?
I would think it's all the same. I mean, obviously, it's all packaged in the same spices that are sent around to everybody. So, I don't know. But I'm like, why would... I mean, Kentucky's what made this first? They're the first people to fucking fry chicken that was good?
There's some, like, story about him, yeah, like, in terms of... I mean, he's from Kentucky, isn't he? The Colonel Sanders. And, like, apparently, he's, like, a guy that was in like, financial... debt, or he had suicide attempts or something, I don't know, like, but he basically made all this money when he was quite old. That's what I understand.
Yeah, he always reminds me of Orville Redenbacher.
Who's that? I don't know those.
That's the popcorn guy.
Right.
Yeah, and that guy died in a hot tub with bitches. That old man, he was in a hot tub with some bitches and he died. Heart attack.
So the show this week, we were doing well getting this out on Tuesday. We had put a day to the side regularly to do this. And what happened this week is that in a previous life, I worked with my friend at for his escort agency.
I thought you were going to say in a previous life we used to watch wrestling and review it.
Oh god, yeah, we did that too. We actually got that show done because we were so irate about the wrestling. But and when I left club promoting, and I was in between shit in terms of like trying to get this wrestling website up and running, and which eventually turned into lock betting, and I only had my gambling podcast income coming through for those podcasts. I would go and do social media and receptionist work at his escort agency, and once I got my money back on track, I wanted to leave, but he said to me, you know, you can come back anytime because you're quite good at the phone selling girls. Like, who would have think it? Like, I can tell you, I can sell whores to you. Like,
well, you gotta dip into the whores first, and then you give a taste test. You have to say, this one likes to do this. That's, you know what? That's actually a fucking pretty good idea. You bang them all, and you say, and you write reviews for each one of them. This one, if you're more into the tame side, this is for you. If you like a pretty girl, this one's for you because she's not jumping up and down. But if you're not so focused on the looks and you want a really good time, this one's the way to go because she'll fucking bend over backwards to please you, but she's not that great on the eyes. That's a fucking... might be something to look into.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get that past him somehow, but like, I mean... But the thing is, I was sort of doing that by myself anyway. In terms of... yeah, I've not... As you know, like, I know these people, they... When I was doing the job, they the environment is that it's a... Okay, so let me run from the beginning. It's a website where the girls come to your house, right?
Yeah, like an escort agency kind of. That's what we have over here. The girls that come to house, like call girl.
Yeah, they come to your house. So there's a website and you phone up and you ask who's available. And so we have an office where they all sit and they all get a designated driver. And but to save money, because so the drivers all make decent money, because some girls might not, you know, it's like the strip club, like they're not all like 10s. Some are like pretty bad. So like the drivers on their way, they all pick up like 2 girls. So there's always like less drivers than girls. You know, there's like 2 girls in a car. If it's a really top girl, like she'll only have like, you know, her own driver. She won't share a car with another girl because we know she'll be busy. So I would say there's on generally night to night, there's 8 girls and 5 drivers, right? So these drivers bring the girls to the office. They all sit there. I'd speak to them, waiting for the phones to ring. And then when people inquire, I need to like sell the girls and then and get them out. So as I said, I did this job temporarily when I was sorting my finances out. And my mate said, you're one of my better receptionists. You can come back and work anytime. So I take like a couple of like cushy shifts a month on this, and he asked me to urgently come in and cover on a Tuesday, and he would offer me more money because his regular Tuesday person wasn't doing it. And I don't like doing Tuesday now because I don't stay up for the wrestling at all, because it really fucks up my week. Like, And this has kind of affected our podcast as well, whereas we found it more difficult and we had to, whereas before it used to be, you up? Yeah, I'm up at crazy times. He'd come home from work and he'd be able to catch me coming home from work. If he finished at like 5, then I would be up at like 1 a.m. Is that right? That's the time difference, right?
That's way different, because it's when I'm home at 2, it's, maybe that is right. I'm home at 2, and then it's like 11 for you, or 10. It's 10.
Yeah, so it's like 8 hours. But like, it would say you go home at 5. I used to be free at 1. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. So we had to have a very organised structure in terms of picking a day for Cav to finish a bit early and for me to make sure I was free. And I've been free the whole time.
Since me moving is always, and that's difficult now too, because at a certain time the girlfriend comes home. I can't be just locked in a fucking room for the fucking day. Like, I make sure I'm locked in a room on Sundays. So that's kind of my, day that I don't have to adhere to fucking shit. Like this morning, I walked into my room and it's like, where you going? Because I'm like, that whole day on tomorrow I'll be there. So I kind of spend the day with her when we're both off today. One of those things. So it's like,
Cav has responsibilities now. Like, he's...
Somewhat.
Yeah.
I try to be courteous.
Yeah, he's not the same person that started these shows. Like, he's not the same person that started therapy a while back. And that's got to affect your show a little bit, like in terms of the things you used to, because you used to like obviously dedicate a period of time like to your dates and stories about this girls and deaf girls and the one you fucked with a colostomy bag, and also like you got to be thinking like you don't even want her to ever go back and listen to that stuff unless you just told her.
Yeah, that is the thing. I mean, I have like she's heard certain shit on there and been like, and I go, listen. And I lay down that law where I'm like, I am not changing my show. This is not like it just happened the other day. These are old stories.
But do you pretend that do you say, look, I just embellished, like none of this stuff even really happened?
I don't say it didn't happen. I say I do ramp it up. But
right.
I mean, it's all fucking true. But I do make it obviously bigger. I don't even know how I do because it's all fucking true. But I make it, I think, more, maybe, it's either, if it was a bad experience, I make it 50 times worse. And if it was a good one, I make it 50 times better. One of those kind of things. But, I mean, for the most part, they're usually disaster stories. Those are more fun. But, I mean, I've had women that I dated before, like, they would hear the show. And one fucking texted me while I remember doing the show. And she texted me, and it was like a big, long text. Devastated. I can't believe you said this about... And I'm like... And I started thinking, I go, what the fuck did I say about this broad? And the funny thing is, I didn't say anything about her. She's a big fat fucking broad with blue eyes. So this is what happens. I said something about... God, we were talking about wrestling. And it was... Someone said, oh, you should be happy that this was on wrestling. It was like, but I'm like, but the rest of the show sucked, one of those things. And so I said, that's like fucking a fat chick and saying, well, at least she had nice eyes. That's all I said. And she completely turned that into me talking about her. And I'm like, wow, you're fucked up. I go, you got a fucking complex if that's the case. I go, who the fuck? I go, let's talk comparing fucking a fat chick to wrestling, for God's sake. Where the fuck did you put yourself in there? And I'm like, she put herself in there because she's a fat chick. She goes, well, people always say I have nice eyes. I go, what the fuck is wrong with you? So that kind of shit where I'm like, see you fucking later. Who needs that?
Well, getting back to what I was saying, the gist of what I was nearly done. The gist of what I'm saying is that I used to do this job, and part of the job is that you end up talking to the girls a lot in the office or whatever. Along the ways, being the owner of it is like good friends of mine. And at one point, the reason I even went there, we were going to go into like business together, whereas he wanted to expand his business. Instead of taking having these £120 an hour girls, he wanted to be introduced to some of the porn girls, the ones that I know, the ones that you'll be getting more and more of on this show. And I want to talk about that as well in a minute. But yeah, so there was plans for him to expand, but in the end, what we ended up doing is he was always trying to get girls from other agencies, so he would hire them, and he didn't want to do it by himself. Like, he didn't want to be like this weird guy that just hired 3 girls. So he actually ended up buying me lots of like whores. So we would always like end up partying and doing drugs, and we would like have these meetings where we were going to get some work done on like, you know, expanding the agency. But in the end, we would end up just doing drugs and fucking girls and doing drugs and fucking girls, and a couple of, on the side, I would sort of break the rules and sort of go through girls at his agency as well, which you're not really supposed to do. But this,
you know how there's Uber Eats.
Yep.
And you're saying all these drivers are driving around dropping off these whores. You guys should make your own service, Uber Whores.
Well, this is what it is. It is Uber Whores, but there's quite a few of them. This is like not a unique thing. This is not the only agency doing this like delivery service of these girls. And the drivers get paid too, because then they get paid money to do the driving, and then they just sit outside. They get paid a waiting time as well. And they're supposed to deal with incidents, but looking at these drivers, I'm not sure they could really deal with anything, to be honest with you. But Tuesday, what happened is that Tuesday wasn't my day to work. It wasn't one of the 2 days I was going to do this month, and he offered me a lot more money to do it, so that's why I ended up doing. So that's why we didn't have a show. And then it's taken me and him quite a few days to get our shit together. And one thing I did wanted to get out there, I did have Kansas City Chiefs -3 to win, and I said to Cav, I was like, fuck, because we went long on a wrestling show. I was like, fuck, I know this was going to be my luck this week, and I know it's definitely going to win because we haven't got it on the recording. And they fucking won easily.
Yeah, I put money straight on them by itself, plus parlay with a few other games for the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put, it was like whatever you put down is what you win back. One of those things. So I was still beat up from the Dallas one last week because I said I did like those 3 games, and I'm like, I never bet $50 at a shot. 50 maybe over multiple games, because I'll do $5 on everything, parlay, and multiple times, because you can get like $250 for $5. So I try to do that. And this one I go, Dallas, and these were outright wins. Dallas, Baltimore, and the Chargers, $50. And I was like, oh my God, it hurt my heart. And fucking Dallas right off the bat. I go, motherfucker, and so I'm like gun shy. And I go, yeah, they should win this game. So I put down $20. I'm like, that's as rich as I'm going. Did 20, so I got right back, which was nice. But yeah, there's some fucking iffy games. God, there's a couple I wouldn't even come close to touching though this week.
Well, we'll go through them in a minute, but just on that last point I wanted to cover, with the porn stars and the escorts and the models, and we obviously had Gigi on here, but we will be doing that from time to time, but it is going to lead to 1.5 hour shows. It's very difficult for us to cap it at 1 hour. We always wanted this to be between 45 minutes and an hour. It just helps our download numbers. I think that's just the millennial nature these days, and the way and the type of product and audio that people want, in terms of they want their shit quick, and they don't want to have a whole load of time dedicated to it, which is why I think where I think the Monday Night Wars suffered, and why I would have liked to have sort of tried that at a 25 to 30 minute window. But that's a wrestling.
It was nearly impossible. It was fucking nearly. I didn't even say nearly. I think it was impossible. There was so many clips. But
it's not veering onto a wrestling thing. It's impossible here too, because by the time you save time to do the lines properly, you end up doing an interview with someone which is like 30 minutes, and all it is a real big tease, because I think that Gigi thing just got going, where we would have talked about strip club etiquette, strip club stories, all that kind of shit. And then at the same time, I had stories about where she currently works as well, bearing in mind I married one of them, and we're just about to touch on it, and the time was up. So we're gonna do way more in the off season of football. Not to say we won't have any during football, but it's gonna be a lot heavier for interviews during off season of football, just because we're gonna have so much more time. I mean, just one interview should be an hour by itself, with so much stuff. I mean, I was getting ramped up with the questions, and I kept looking at the clock because she had given us a time that she had to be out, and she even gave an extra 15 minutes. Yeah. So. All right. So with that out in the open, let's run through these lines, and put a bow on this show, which is going to be shorter because, as I said, we are doing this really for the NFL, and for housekeeping reasons, because we didn't want to miss a show straight out of the back. And also, like, obviously, me having a commitment on Tuesday shouldn't really affect you guys getting the show. We should be able to get our shit together. But when we did get our shit together, that wrestling show had to be done. And for those of you guys that don't watch it, and I don't think at this point in time there's a lot of people that don't watch wrestling, I still think that we're carrying over pretty much the same audience. You'll know that there was a lot of shit to talk to about in the wrestling. And the thing is that it's one of the only weeks where wrestling could cross over onto this, because I think there would have been enough publicity for people to see Cain Velasquez and Tyson Fury. And I think people be aware of the commercials during NFL that WWE are on Fox. And the thing is that if they're doing, with the bad ratings that they're doing, you know what they can't blame is the network. Because if you're listening to this as a person who isn't even a WWE fan, you would have seen enough commercials on Fox, because I certainly did when I was in Vegas for the opening weekend of the NFL, to think, whoa, I haven't watched WWE for I haven't watched WWE for years. I may give it a try. The people may have been thinking that. I actually heard people discussing the adverts and acknowledging it and asking me questions, because the guys I was sitting with knew I partly covered it for a living. And yeah,
it's easier because it's on network, and
yeah,
a lot of people right there. I mean, people at my work that haven't watched in 100 years told me, I watched the other day. So
yeah, but that's the thing though. The one thing they cannot do is put the blame onto Fox. They have to solely put the blame on themselves. And the reason we're saying that is because obviously this company started with a 4 million rating, a 4.0 rating, and this week, just before we come on the air, I said to Cav in our group, our little WhatsApp group, that they've come down to 2.4 by the third week. So they lost 1 million, and then they lose another 500,000, which is fucking terrible to do that. But
it's still probably bigger than anything they had on their network, though. That's always the thing. It's like it's low for what used to be for wrestling, but it's still higher than whatever the hell is on that, like the Law and Order that's on USA. You know, it's still bigger than that.
But like next week, they're getting bumped for the baseball. Like, I mean, that's not.
Oh, really? It's not on next week?
No, it's on FS1. They got the baseball on next week, and I imagine that.
So it gets moved over. No shit.
That's got to be like the start of the World Series, because the Astros Yankees going to be done by then, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping
they're all going in a row at this point, tonight and tomorrow. So
need the Yankees to win today.
Nah, they ain't gonna win today. They're gonna get whooped.
Yeah, I know that's probably what's going to happen, but. Anyway, so let's just rush through these lines. Sure. I'm to
where I need to be, so I'm walking around the block in extra time so we can get this. See what we do for you people?
Yeah, Cav's literally outside walking about. This is how I tried to catch him on his on his walk. What time is it there for you? Like 12:20?
It is 12:20.
Yep. All right, so you got the Rams -3. I'll just read the numbers out, and you just give the picks, and I'll give the picks. We'll do it differently this week, just to get it quicker. The Rams are laying 3 points away to Atlanta.
Oh, by the way, Wisconsin just lost to Illinois. Hey, it's an Illinois team that beat a Wisconsin team. It's a fucking miracle. 23-24. How about that?
I took Purdue getting 18 points against Iowa, and I think they covered it.
You know, my guy said pick Illinois with the points. I'm surprised. I'm like, I don't know why, but they think they match up or something. I'm like, I know nothing about college.
Did he say to take Purdue?
Oh, God. I don't know. I got to look at my paper. They pick like 6 games out of the week or something like that for college because it's just too many. But they do all NFL. So anyway, I'll pick. It's Rams going in Atlanta, and it's only 3.
Yeah.
I'm taking. I think that's like a lock. I'm going with the Rams.
The Rams is shit now, though. I don't want no part of that game at all.
They just got Ramsey too. They're not going to have Julio Jones to throw to.
I don't trust Rams. I'm not going to bet them anymore. Buffalo Bills at home to Miami are laying 17 points.
And will cover.
Yeah, it's just weird to see it, though.
I know. It's scary no matter. You're always like, nah.
You know what? You see it, and then you think, nah. And then you think of the breakdown, and you think, oh, you know, like they go 7 points up in the first quarter. You know, they add like they go 10 points in at the half, and then they win the second, and then they win like the second half by another 7. Then you think, that's easily done. When you break it down, in terms of how this game. Yeah, you start to think. I would look at double-digit numbers differently. Cincinnati against the Jags in Cincinnati. The Jags are laying 3.5 points. I like it to get it to 3, but
Yeah, I mean, 3 is always one of those yikes things. But yeah, I would take the Jags too. Cincinnati's just fucking garbage. It's that top 3 pick they're getting. I think they'll be the 3rd pick. The Redskins will be 2nd, and Miami will be 1st.
this is an interesting game. Detroit and Vikings was a pick in Detroit, and it's nearly up to 3 points now for the Vikings. The Vikings are almost like -3 favorites at the moment. It's -2.5, but it's at minus 120 odds instead of like -110, -110, which means it's moving towards it being a whole 3 points. I was going to take Detroit at a pick, and now I can get them at a pick at like at massive plus money. So,
it's funny because I think that's a no-brainer too. But however, the people I have heard and trust, they've picked the Vikings, and I'm like, why? And they think the Vikings have fixed things because there was 2 games. So 2 games in a row, Cousins has been good. And I'm like, you show me more than that shit. You could have a fluke. Fucking Mitch has been good for 2 games. I ain't fucking banking on nothing. But they were talking about Detroit getting fucked in the Green Bay game. And, does that fucking destroy somebody? You won the game 3 times. 3 calls that ended the game for them. It was 3 times. That's fucking brutal. And does that destroy a team? I take it the other way, where it's, let's fucking not give it a chance for the Reds. Let's fucking rape everybody and win by 50. And then these calls don't matter. That's how I would take it. But maybe they take it as, fuck it, we can't win anyway, and it's because Detroit's always had a culture of being shit. We know that. They've been rebuilding since 1957. So, this shows their heart or not. If they come out and win this, they're a for real team. If they lay down, they're the same old fucking Lions.
Here's my take, right? They haven't really lost a game this year. They've pretty much they've beaten everybody. Do you know the one team that beat Detroit this year? Detroit. Yeah. How did they lose? That turnover against Kansas City Chiefs was ridiculous. The switch off against Arizona, the referees' calls against Green Bay. Everything has gone against this team, who should be unbeaten. They should be 6-0. I just don't think they'll lose this one. I just think that.
How bad is it that loss put them, instead of first place, to dead last place?
Yeah.
That much of a difference. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that could ruin your entire season. You know how one loss, especially this year, everything is so how many teams are getting to 10 wins? A lot.
Oh, the NFC is just so tight.
You're lucky you're going to win that division. Because I don't know. It's I think the Vikings could get to 10. I think the Lions could get to, maybe the Lions get to 9. Bears, I think, are fighting for 10. It's
but look around. Look around.
Oh yeah.
Rams should.
The fucking West.
Rams should get to 10. Seattle should get to 10. The Carolina Panthers should get to 10. So.
There's a lot. It's you better, every game really matters. So, but yeah, I will pick Detroit, even though I'm hearing otherwise. But I'll take my thoughts.
Yeah.
I would take Detroit. I don't know if I'm throwing down all kind of money, but that's what I'm taking.
I'm throwing down some, definitely on the money line. The Packers are the Packers were laying 6 and now they're only laying 4. I don't know what I'm missing here. Maybe people think that we're banged up or something in Oakland coming off a bye.
Packers playing Packers.
We're at home. We're at home to Oakland.
Oh, you know what's weird? Yeah, I hear that too, and I don't know why. I mean, well, we know the receiving core for the Packers is a little fucked up, and the Raiders aren't as shitty as we thought. It's well, can they continue on what they did? I think the running back's Jacobs gonna run on them a bit in Green Bay.
That's the general thing that I'm hearing, that everybody's gonna run all over us. But the angle that I'm taking is that they're on this horrendous road trip. This is the 4th game. The 5th game is next week. Like, how are they going to win in Green Bay? Because if they end up winning at the Colts and then beating the Bears in London and then beating the Packers, like, that's a phenomenal like return on this fucking 5-game road trip, which started with them getting spanked against the Vikings. I just can't see it, and I don't understand why this has gone down to 4. Even if they do run on us and put up some points, like, we can put up some points as well. We have got Aaron Rodgers, so I still think it's a decent bet at 4.
Yeah, I really can't see the Raiders, like, winning this for sure. And you know what? That might be part of that winning parlay that we always think about doing, just the outright winners, which we haven't talked about yet, and adding that in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me this week, I mean, that's Buffalo and San Francisco and New England, and I know it doesn't return as much, but I think that's where you go with it. The toughest game to pick this week is Colts Texans, where both teams are at a pick.
I would say the Colts because they're at home, and also
same.
because like Houston has blown its wad with last week's game. I think they put everything they had into doing that. So I think this is almost, if you could call Indy a trap game, I think it would be. Just because it's like we got out what we wanted to. We did, they accomplished a big thing and then have that letdown.
Well, it's a big divisional
game. This will show
game.
you if they're good or not.
It's almost more important, though. Yeah.
It is. You're right. God, I just think that they're on a high for beating a team that's talked about as going to the Super Bowl.
But the AFC is not like the NFC. Like, you can afford these losses and still carry through. Like, these seedings are not. You're not in danger of missing out when you're fucking 11-5. You can be 11-5 in the NFC and not go through. Like, we're going to have the Bears, the Lions, the Rams, the Packers,
everybody with 10.
The Vikings, I've said the Panthers, the Seahawks, the 49ers. Even the Cowboys, the Eagles, like, everybody's in the mix there. The only team I'd say could be the clear number one would be the New Orleans Saints, but we'll talk about them in a couple of games' time.
That Houston and Kansas City game, that was called the Bears Bowl. Do you know why?
No, why is that?
Because the Bears passed on Mahomes and on Watson.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, kill me now. Kill me right now.
The Cardinals are getting 3.5 points. They were getting 3, but now they're getting 3.5 points in New York. I think it's an improving team that could win outright here. I think they look okay to me. They look like they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, they're on their way, and Daniel Jones is. They've given back his gold jacket after the first 2 weeks where everybody was anointing him the greatest quarterback in history. I think he should be still okay, but he's got a really bad team around him, especially their defense. So this should be, and I can see it being pretty high scoring, actually. What's the over-under on this?
The over-under on this isn't that much. I believe it was like 50.
Oh.
It was 50. Yes, bang on 50.
It's very, that's a good one. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring and a lot of running around. I think Murray's going to rush for a lot, actually, too, because I think there's going to be a lot of breakdowns where he could take off running.
Your 49ers are laying 10 on the road against the Redskins.
This over here, they're talking about it not being a trap, even though that's what everyone is like, kind of, everyone goes to that. Oh, they came off a big win against the Rams, and now they're playing a dog shit team that they have to travel to, let their guard down. But Shanahan, his father was with the Redskins, and the whole thing is that they treated him like shit. And the same with this Shanahan used to work for the Redskins as well. And so he kind of wants to do that revenge fuck you game. So he has made sure, he's told the team, the reports are that he's like, this is not a letdown game. We're putting the pedal to the metal. We're going to fuck them. So it's a personal thing. It doesn't matter west going east. People do say that, but at the same time, we've seen it where it kind of doesn't matter. It just seems to always hurt when west goes east. But the Niners defense against that fucking offense for the Redskins, I can't imagine the Niners having a letdown.
The Titans with Tannehill, are laying 2 against the Chargers.
It's Tannehill. I'm going with the fucking Chargers. I don't believe that the Chargers are as bad as what the fuck is going on.
They lost at home. They lost at home to the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers with their third or fourth string quarterback. Like I can't bet this game.
But it wasn't a home game.
Okay, none of their games are home games until they go back to San Diego.
I mean, the fucking crowd was all Pittsburgh. That was bizarre. But I'm like, I feel bad for, like, I'm thinking Rivers is going to leave after this year. His contract's up. Why would you fucking want to be in a... It's like, you don't have a home. I mean, like, fuck this. The home field is garbage. And you know, I mean, they're moving into a new facility, but that's the Rams fucking facility. It's the stepchildren. They're not going to... He's going to be like, fuck this shit. They're always wounded. Everyone's always fucking hurt. He's always having to do everything. But they're still the superior fucking team. Tennessee with fucking Tannehill, for God's sake. Fuck that shit. If San Diego, whoever the fuck they are now, if they lose this game, you just fucking say forfeit each fucking game. Don't even play.
They'll lose this game. Chicago are now laying 4.5 against the Saints. We looked at this game a few weeks ago because we looked at the total. The 40's come down to 37.5 at some places, 38 in others. What was originally a 3-point spread is now a 4.5-point spread. So far, Bridgewater's come in and he's 4-0 when they wanted him to be 500 and for Breeze to win out the rest of the season. Now Breeze is going to get to rest all the way to the bye week. And do you think this could be the first loss that they take?
I think you know what? I'm going to pick the Bears to win this outright. The points scare me because I think before earlier in the week it was at a 3 points, and I think it's because Kamara is out. So no top of the line running back. He's not just some running back. He's really fucking one of the top. And Breeze, both. I mean, they have a great defense. The Bears have a bad offense. Mitch is coming back with his fucking shoulder, but it's the opposite shoulder. But you're still in a harness, so it's kind of going to throw you off a little bit. But I don't know if it matters for him being thrown off because he's off anyway.
He's fucking shit, yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't think he's like, I'm uncomfortable now. I can't throw it straight. You couldn't throw it straight normal. So I would stay away from this because I was thinking the Bears would win by a field goal. And now that it's 4, it scares me, man. I mean, I really would stay away from it. So
we got one of my favorite games next, Seattle. So I like the Green Bay game this week. I like Detroit, as we talked about, and I like Seattle. They're laying 2.5 at home to Baltimore, less than a field goal. Baltimore are fucking terrible. They're gonna win their division because their division is fucking dog shit. Like Big Ben going out, pretty much changed the shape of the division. Browns turned out to be the Browns, which a lot of people were expecting something different from them, and Cincinnati Bengals are worse than anyone ever expected. So it's literally being handed to the Ravens, but I don't think they're good at all. And Seattle at home, laying under a field goal, I got to be all over this.
If having an ugly quarterback wins you a Super Bowl, the fucking Ravens win hands down every year. But it doesn't. I think you got to be handsome. That's why Tom wins all of them. But this in Seattle is a different world usually, and it's really spectacular that the entire Seattle Legion of Boom fucking left. And there's like one guy, like Bobby Wagner's there. And everybody else is like, it's like 0.2, 2.0 here. And they're fucking, it's all comes down to Russell Wilson, I think. And he's great. So it's they don't miss a step. It's wild how they don't miss a step. I would take them being at home like this.
So the Sunday game is the Dallas Cowboys at home to the Eagles, and the Cowboys are the 3-point favorites. These games between these two are going to decide this division. Only one team's coming through the NFC East. I think it's going to end up being the Eagles. I think the Eagles end up winning this game, and I think this will be the last season for Jason Garrett underachieving at this fucking Cowboys team because they should be doing a lot better than this.
Yeah, I think Garrett's fucking you know what? I would say middle of the season even, but Jerry Jones doesn't do that shit. And Jerry Jones likes to have a puppet. So that's the main reason why he's even still there. This game scares the shit out of me. I would pick the Eagles to win it. I think the Eagles are a better team. After that loss last week with the Jets, that scares me a little bit because you'd be like, okay, look, they played a shit team and won last week. Maybe they'll keep it continuing, or now they'll have their letdown game. But at the same time, now I'm like, well, it's the same thought with the Rams. You've lost that many in a row. Are they really that bad?
I thought that was their bounce back, and then all of a sudden, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You can't turn around and go, "Oh, fucking hell, it wasn't to know Sam Darnold was going to play." Who the fuck is that? They're just a fucking bad team. They were never even in that game. To turn around and say, okay, they had a bad beat or whatever, and it was close. I know it was close in the end in the scoreboard, but that's because Cowboys started to come back. They were down throughout this entire game, 14, 15 points. So, I mean, for me, they just didn't turn up last week, and I don't think they'll win this game either. The Jets are next. They're playing on Monday. They're getting 9.5 points at home to the New England Patriots, who struggle to cover spreads against the AFC East teams, but end up always winning the games.
Yeah, the spread always worries me. I'm like, well, watch New England win by fucking 10 and cover it. But it's always that last fucking minute goddamn, they allow something to happen because it doesn't matter to the real score. That seems to what fucks us. Cincinnati and fucking Baltimore last week. There's a minute left. They're winning by fucking 14. Who cares? One of those stupid, it's like, you motherfuckers. So, I mean, I will pick the Patriots to be winning this, of course. I am a little scared of that point spread, though.
Yeah, I think you just add this to your parlays and just play it safe. As I said earlier, Buffalo, Patriots, and 49ers is the way I'm going to go with this one. And I like the total here, under 44, because the Patriots defense is improved a lot. But I'm not scared of the 9.5. I thought this would be closer to double digits, but it's not. So I'll lay it. I'll see the situation I'm in on Monday and how pissed off I am with the rest of the bets that we do come Monday night. All right, that's it for this edition of the Man Show. We'll be back on Tuesday with another show. This time we will have the show out on time. I've been Billy. He's been Cav. Or do you want to close out with anything to say?
That's fine. Same old. We do it the same way. I've been Cav. He's been Billy. Have a good one.